Have you ever had to deal with lumper fees? That's one of my pet peeves. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'd know that. It just makes my blood boil. But now I've discovered a whole new twist on this scam. The pirates have dreamed up yet another angle. My name is Kevin. I'm a solo driver for Creek Carrier, and you're watching The Joy of Trucking. Now, I'm in the dry van division. I don't normally haul reefers, but every now and then I come to a place and they tell me there are lumper fees. It's always been my understanding, historically, lumpers were guys that were hanging around the docks at these places, and a trucker would pull up and he'd have to unload the truck himself, so he'd slip these guys a few bucks and they'd go and unload his truck, and he'd be on his merry way, having saved himself a lot of sweat and time, because time is money. You got to keep those wheels rolling. But now it seems like you pull up at a warehouse and you don't get to see the guys unloading you. There's nobody hanging around outside. They won't let you in to see what's going on, but they tell you there's a lumper fee. You got to pay something out of your pocket to get these guys to unload your truck. I don't know. It seems a little strange to me. I'd like to meet these guys unloading my truck someday and ask them just what they're getting paid, because I'm sure it doesn't correspond to what they're charging me. Anyway, that's just one of my things. But I got to tell you a story. So I picked up a load at a terminal. So this was T-called. In other words, another driver went somewhere, picked up a load, wasn't able to deliver it. He dropped it at a terminal, and I come along looking for a load, and I get assigned this load. So I'm picking it up. I wasn't there when it got loaded. I don't know any of the backstory except what's on the bill of lading, and I am to take it on and deliver it. So I drive for the day, and my delivery appointment is the next morning, 7 a.m. And I make it in plenty of time. I walk into the office there at 6 a.m., hand them the bills, and the lady does some check-in, and she goes, "Aha! There's a rescheduling fee on this." I said, "What does that mean?" She says, "Well, this load was scheduled to be here 3 days ago, but we had to change the schedule, and now it's here on this day." I said, "Well, I got my load information that said this is the delivery time and date, and I'm fine." "Nope, it's 3 days late, so there'll be a fee for that." I said, "Oh, what's that?" She says, $250. I said, "Damn, I don't seem to have any cash on me." She says, "Oh, that'll be an EFS check." I says, I don't have one of those on me." She says, "Don't you worry, we got some for you. That'll be $5 for the check." I said, "Oh, good." And this lady's got a big smile on her face. There's got to be something wrong. She's obviously enjoying this. Anyway, so I said, "Well, looks like I got to make a phone call, so I'll be right back." So I go back to the truck and I send a message, and then I make a phone call and explain this reschedule fee. And since it's early in the morning, I'm told, well, we'll have to wait till a manager comes in and gives us the okay. I got the impression this was a little unusual for them too. So I sit in my truck and wait a while, and then I get a number on the ELD, and I go into the office. I give the girl the number. She puts it on the check, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's all paid. Now go back to your truck and wait, and you'll get a text, and it'll be for the lumper fee. And when you get that, you have to fill that stuff out, pay that lumper fee, and then come on in and get your bills. And she's smiling even bigger now, and I'm thinking, wow, what's that going to be? She says, that's $300 for the lumper fee. I said, very good. And I go back to my truck, because I've seen this before, and I'm thinking, let's see, it was $250 for you to put an X on your calendar, and then over here put a check mark saying, here's the new appointment time. That was $250 to make a mark on your calendar. Then it was $5 for a piece of paper. $5 for a piece of paper that I'm sure isn't worth a half a cent. And now you want $300 to unload my truck by mysterious people who don't work for you theoretically. But I'm sure a guy driving a forklift for an hour didn't get $300, even if that forklift was made of gold. You know, if I hauled reefers, I'd be at these places all the time dealing with this, because I've noticed it only seems to happen at food warehouses. But I'm in dry vans, so it's only once or twice a year I gotta deal with this. But I'm wondering if any of you reefer guys out there have seen this rescheduling fee, or is that a new trick now? They realize they can get you for that lumper fee. They dreamed up something else, right? Now here's the other thing about that. like I said, traditionally it was the driver who hired some guys lying around, you know, hanging around the docks, and got them to hustle and unload the truck. And so what happens now when you go in with this thing and they charge you this lumper fee and now the rescheduling fee? In theory, it's the driver who's paying this. So this EFS number, this thing that goes on the check, is actually coming from the company. So they're paying it, but they're saying, in theory, the driver's paying it. So what happens on my paycheck, what comes up is this money is taken off my pay. And in the next breath, I'm reimbursed for it. So theoretically, I've paid it out of my pocket, out of my pay. And the company was nice enough to hand me the money right back. Well, that's good, but why is it done like that? Obviously, it's the warehouse screwing the company. I'm just a guy in the truck. Why is all this money coming in and out of my hand? And what happens if the company kind of forgets to reimburse me? Am I going to be out $556? Oh yeah, it's $556. I got the math right, because there is an administration fee of 50 cents attached to each transaction. So there's an extra $1, and I believe that's from the company. That's not from the warehouse. And that's reimbursed to me as well. But why am I being charged an administration fee? And that happened to me when I drove for Werner. I spent a year with Werner, and I had to deal with this lumper thing, and their fee is a little higher. It's like $5 or $6 for their administration fee. And sometimes they forget to pay it to you. Because Werner's like that. Sometimes there's stuff not on your check that you thought was going to be there, and then you got to chase them for a week or two. So that's another story. We're not on that beef. So my question about this, now that I'm thinking about it, if this is going on my check and being taken off my pay and then being put right back on, does this affect my taxes somehow? I'm going to have to call my accountant and ask about this. When they give me that money, is that taxable income? As a reimbursement? I'm not sure. Or as a bonus maybe, or something like that. And the fact that I'm paying it, would I be able to deduct that as an expense on my taxes? If I was an owner-operator, could I use that as an expense and take $556 off my gross income for tax purposes? I wonder. I mean, you're making me pay it and giving it back to me. Does that somehow cause me other paperwork problems? I don't know. That's worth finding out. If anybody out there knows the answer to that question, or if you've ever seen this rescheduling fee before, put it in the comments below. I'm really curious about this one because I've never come across it before. Is this something new? Or am I just encountering something that's been around for a while? Another thought that occurs to me is, if I was an owner-operator and I wanted to just avoid all this paperwork, I think I'd boycott these places. Anybody who charged me a lumper fee, I'd say, I'll never see you again. I'll never show up at this place and play this game with you again. It's not worth it. But that's just me. And I'm a grumpy old fart, and I think I've done enough belly aching for now. I'm going to go have lunch. So, comments down below. Give us a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about this lumper fee and this rescheduling fee, and if it does affect your taxes. That's really important to know too. And as far as the rest goes, well, I hope you all learned something from this today. Maybe some of you first-year drivers have never encountered this yet, so at least you'll know what to expect now if it ever comes up. You got to contact your company and get an EFS check number, and the lumper fee was done as a text from another company, a third party that handles all this. So they're obviously splitting the take with the warehouse. But anyway, enough belly aching. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. I'll see you down the road at the next warehouse. Bye for now.